something we all need. Gotta have it now if you wanna succeed. Striving, surviving, that's no doubt. Sticking together, we gon' find a way out. To all you young people, give it your all. To all you young people, give it your all. To all you young people, give it your all. To all you young people, give it your all.
Good evening, the back community. Thank you as always for staying involved. Thank you for staying engaged. I know sometimes in the past I might have said I had a special guest, but I really want to say that tonight's guest is special to me, but she should also be special to you guys here at the back community, because her program, one of the programs that she actually runs, is what inspired me to get to doing the back community. But without further ado, tonight's guest is Mrs. Anshia Crooms. She does so many different things, from Briclyn Entertainment to Project Hygiene to Crush Your Craft, to crushing the Grammys. You're doing all types of things. So first things first, Shia, welcome to the back community. Thank you for affording me your time today. I look forward to diving into your story.
Thanks, Tyrell, for having me. And for those who don't know, they call me Shia because he called me Anshia, but he calls me Shia because we go back, so it's all good.
Throughout today's interview, you will be Shia.
Right.
Well, let me see. My very first question I want to go ahead and hit you with, because I know who you are, but I really want the audience to know who you are as well. So my first question for you, Shia, is what kind of work do you do and what kind of passion projects are you working on? Here's your opportunity to tell the back community more about you.
Well, hey, back community. Thanks again, Ty, for having me. My name is Anshia Briclyn Crooms, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Briclyn in a second. I am an entrepreneur, AKA a music booking agent, AKA philanthropist, a wife, so many other things, sister, daughter, and friend. But I own an entertainment company called Briclyn Entertainment. We specialize in talent booking, talent buying, and event programming. I also have a nonprofit with my twin sister, Anshia, called Project Hygiene, where we basically service kids from the ages 10 to 18 and provide bullying prevention workshops and give out free toiletries to underprivileged children as a way to denounce bullying. So I always say, even though Project Hygiene is our nonprofit, that is one of my biggest passion projects, because in anything that I do in Briclyn or in Project Hygiene always infuses some part of service. And then we also have a workshop series called Crush Your Craft, which you mentioned, and that is simply giving back to entrepreneurs, and even not even just entrepreneurs, but anybody just motivated to do more with their passion. You know, that's what Crush Your Craft is centered about, basically just exercising, giving you guys the encouragement to go out and be great and to actually do things that you aspire to do. So that's a little bit about who I am. But you guys can call me Shia or Anshia, and Briclyn, as mentioned, is my company and my middle name.
Okay. And I'm going back to Crush Your Craft before I go to Briclyn, only sure. Because I might have attended, I want to say maybe 3 or so of the series there, and I was just so inspired for myself. But it was also something that I seen in those events that I thought would actually be good for Albany or the Capital District area. So after going to these events, I had actually reached out to a longtime friend of mine who's a local philanthropist there, and I wanted him to fund actually bringing this series to Albany. Didn't happen as of yet, but I still believe that, you know, especially once it gets back up and running, it is something that is uniquely centered that could actually help out our community. So I haven't given up hope on that one, Shia.
Oh no, never give up hope. It's gonna happen for sure.
Okay. And then I know you mentioned Briclyn, and for some of you guys who don't know, I believe I know some of her clientele. Am I allowed to go ahead and say?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so well, let me run down the list of what I know. So I'm starting with Eric Roberson.
Yeah.
Moo Fresh.
Kevin Ross.
Wait. Yep. Kevin Ross. I was sitting there, I was like, I almost said Rick Ross. I knew it wasn't that, but yep. Yeah. I see the work that you're doing. I see how much you advocate for your actual artists. But my second question for you is, how did you get into the music industry? What made you want to start Briclyn Entertainment?
Sure. I knew very early on what I wanted to do. I remember when I was 10 years old, my parents put me in piano lessons and I actually quit before I even had a keyboard. And I quit. I basically gave up and I didn't get a keyboard until Christmas. And so I knew then like music was something I was interested in. And then I always tell this story. Excuse me. But Spike Lee had a movie called Crooklyn, and when I was 11, it came out. So I'm telling my age now, and I was like, "Oh, I love the way he filmed this picture, and I love the cinematography, and I love the score, the music, the background music." And so I said I wanted to do that. I wanted to go into music and I wanted to go into TV and film. By the time I turned 13, there was this movie called the famous line, show me the money. I got the money. That was Jerry Maguire, right? So I was like, oh, an agent, what is that? What is that? So, you know, on this path, I've always been into entertainment, into music, into TV and film. And when I got to Bowie State, I majored in communication, broadcast journalism, had my first internship with Hidden Beach Records, with TV One at the same time. And so Hidden Beach actually taught me a lot of the behind the scenes of promoting independent artists, because they were at that time a huge independent label with the people like Jill Scott and Kendrick the Family Soul. So I kind of fell into music, and I just, like I said, I've always loved music. I've always loved TV and film. So I knew that my track was always going to be something in entertainment. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be. Fast forward to after Bowie, I moved to New York City to go to grad school. I ended up interning at Def Jam and Motown, and then I went on to work for Central Park Summer Stage and music programming. And so at the age of 23, I said, I want to start my own company. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I started Briclyn because I believed enough in myself to say, go after and, you know, learn everything that you've taken from these internships, apply that to your own company. So it's been a long journey. We've been around now for 15 years. But like I said, I infuse putting TV and film together in the things that we're doing, and even the way that we pitch our clients is also always going into both realms of the things that I'm interested in. So I've known very early on from quitting that piano lesson, and even though I wasn't the player, but I knew that there was some inkling about music that I wanted to be tapped into. And so I kind of fell into a little bit of both, you know?
I love it. I love it. Not only do I love the path that brought you there. That was a funny story, especially hearing that you quit playing the piano. Did you ever pick it back up?
No, but you know what? I tell you, in my mind, when I'm with like some of my clients and rehearsal and things of that nature, you would think I'm the sixth man on the bench trying to be a musician, but no, I'm not. But I do know music. I love music. So, you know, I like the business side of it now. So I found my passion and my purpose.
Nice. And I think a huge part of what we do just as individuals is identifying what is our passion and what is our purpose, because ultimately it's tied into service and how we influence and inspire other individuals, which is one of the other reasons why I said I wanted to bring you on here. Because if, not to say that it's hard to inspire me, because it's not, but if you inspire me, it is based upon qualities that I see within you, the work ethic that I see you've always been driven since I've known you, and to see you elevate and to see you grow all of your businesses has been tremendous. And I know right now we're in Women's History Month. So happy Women's History Month. I know Women's International Day has passed, but we are celebrating women this month, and that's why I knew I needed to get you in here in March, because there's so many other women, dynamic women that are serving, that are still figuring out what their purpose is, and to hear your story will be extremely motivational.
Oh, thanks, Ty. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Let me see. I do like to ask some questions to better familiarize myself with the people that I'm interviewing. But I do happen to know a lot about you already. But for my next question, I actually just want to ask, because Project Hygiene, I know, is another program that you actually administer and run there with your twin sister. But that was something that always stood out to me. It was always something that stood out to me because you focused on providing a service to a population of people that typically don't have access to toiletries. I know a lot of people can overlook toiletries and think that they're not as impactful or important as they really are, but there's a lot of young individuals who don't have access to deodorant, toothpaste, and stuff like that. And that ultimately affects how their confidence that they build within themselves. And I love that you guys tied in bullying or anti-bullying, into Project Hygiene. But can you elaborate more about Project Hygiene and the goals of Project Hygiene and how you guys started that?
Sure. We started it 10 years ago. Actually, my sister was working in juvenile caseworking. I worked in entertainment. And, we around 2011, there was this movie called The Bully Project that came out, and it really focused on a lot of kids that were like 8, 9, 10 to 13 years old committing suicide. And so even though it focused on a lot of different facets of why they were doing that, we said, you know what, our parents were really big on giving us toiletry products also too. And so it was just like, you know what, I remember my sister coming home for Christmas and saying, I just want to do something. I've been seeing some cases at these schools. I've been working with these kids that come from these underprivileged areas. And I just want to give back. And so we sat down around Christmas time and with my mom, and we had a conversation about what we wanted to do. And it basically wasn't even a nonprofit. It was just going to kind of be like a one-off project, like some type of initiative to bring Briclyn together. And then we came up with the name Project Hygiene, centered on giving kids toiletry products, because like you said, a lot of times people don't think about the essentials, and when they think essentials, they just think food sometimes. But I'm like, no, you need deodorant, you need soap, you need lotion. And sometimes when you're coming from these underprivileged areas, it's either I got to put food on the table or you simply just don't have. So we think about kids that have eczema. They might go to school and they might get teased, but then again, Aveeno and Aquaphor and these type of things cost $10 to $20 a lot of times. Who can really afford that? So we kind of merged, making sure that we wanted to teach kids how to feel good about themselves on the inside, but also make them feel good on the outside. And that's taking care of your well-being. So we fused bullying prevention into making sure you can take care of your health and wellness. And so while you think about why some kids get bullied, is simply because of poor hygiene. And I always say that we all grew up knowing someone when we were young kids and didn't know better, saying, oh, that person might not smell the best. But if if you get kids at an early age and you teach them how to be a little bit more kinder to one another, how to maybe pull that person to the side, or even just saying, hey, go to a guidance counselor or your principal or your teacher and say, I'm a little concerned about my peer. So we try to get into these classrooms, into these schools, have these bullying prevention workshops to combat it earlier, but to also infuse making sure that you know how to take care of your health and wellness, but also teaching kids about community service on a very early platform. So that's what we really do in Project Hygiene. We really are focused on bullying prevention and giving toiletries to kids in need. And so now we're going into different schools. We have 2 closets at Golston Middle School in Landover, Maryland, one on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, where we're originally from, at Somerset Intermediate. We're going to be moving into 7 DC public high schools very, very soon. So I'm dropping that bomb to you tonight because we haven't told too many people. So altogether, we'll have about 10 schools to end this year. And so we just moving and shaking. The thing is to get these toiletries out of our storage unit and out of our homes, and get them into the schools, because although we've been in many schools for the last 10 years doing our workshops, we were not housing our toiletries at the school. So we want to make sure that these kids get access to these toiletries, and then we come in and do programming throughout the year.
Nice. And how does one find, I know you already made connections with several different schools and other organizations that you guys partner with, but how would one find Project Hygiene if they were looking to partner with you or looking for you to get involved in their school?
Yeah. So I'll tell you what's been happening lately. Like, honestly, you can visit our website at projecthygiene.org. That really tells you about the Project Hygiene Closet program and all the other programs that we provide. But if you simply just contact us via at ph@projecthygiene.org on our website, then we can have a little bit more conversation in regards to how the partnership works. Honestly, I'll tell you, Ty, within the last year, I don't know how people have been finding us, but they've been finding us. We are popping up on people's feeds. We're popping up on the web, social media, because we're asking people too. Like we've had in the last 3 months, almost 50 schools, shelters, a lot of schools reach out to say, hey, I need that at my school. And I'm like, these people are not just in the DMV area. These people are from New York, from Arizona, we had somebody from Toronto, Canada, California reaching out. And I'm like, how did you find out? But what I'm finding out, people are Googling hygiene or calling. And Project Hygiene is coming up. So I want to also give a shout out to Jean, our lawyer, your wife, because I honestly think our trademark is also, when it got published in the Gazette, has been helping us too. But I'm telling you, we're getting calls from all over the country. And I've never seen anything like that within the last 7 months. We've been seeing a rise of people just reaching out and companies wanting to partner, companies wanting to, do drives for Project Hygiene, which is what we greatly need because we give out an influx of toiletries. But I don't know how they finding us, but they finding us, and it's good. So they can keep on. But after that, once they find us, they have to fill out a partnership agreement with us. And then we have a conversation to talk about if it's going to work in that community. And we really do look at the schools and the areas to make sure, is it really feeding into the demographic that we cover? And that's really those kids that are 10 to 18 and underprivileged. Even though all kids need it, we'll give to any kids in need. But we really want to work with those schools that are surrounded in those areas.
I love it. And like I said, the bullying aspect, the toiletry aspect has been something that always stood out to me from the first time you told me about Project Hygiene. I know I've mentioned this to you before. Like I ran a mentoring program for 9 or 10 years in Albany, Charlotte, and Long Island. And one of the things that we would do for the kids every year were give out free haircuts. So I would gather money every year from all my friends and families to help pay for kids to actually get their haircut. Because one of the things I remember from going to school was that some of my friends didn't go to school the first week of school because they didn't have new clothes. Yeah. They couldn't afford a new haircut. So when I first graduated Johnson C. Smith, when I came home, so we might have started that event in 2006 or so, and it's still going on now. So I moved out of Albany, my frat brothers actually took it over, and then it branched off into multiple different organizations doing their own thing. But the premise was still to it has grown from not only giving haircuts to young men, but it grew to, we actually got in sister salons that would come in and do the young women's hair. Now we give out backpacks, all types of school supplies, and it's been an ongoing event, I want to say, since 2006. So, just highlighting or focusing in on those areas that some parents actually need a little bit more help with because, already stretched thin, trying to cover so many other things. You don't know the impact of a small thing like a haircut. You don't know the impact of a small thing like deodorant or toothpaste. So, that's why, from early on, I was like, I'm getting involved in volunteering with Project Hygiene. I'm getting involved because it's a very important endeavor. So thank you and your sister for doing that.
Say hi. She can hear you. She's here. She said, hey, hello.
Tell her I said hi. I think I might have seen her lately. Is she in Baltimore now at the same school that Tupac went to? Or is that a different one?
No, I think that's a different school.
That's a different. Yeah, because I was, I'm reading a book on Pac right now. And then I seen you
Baltimore.
there.
Yeah.
Okay.
But not far from one another.
Okay. All right. Well, this is also to inspire other individuals. So I like to tap in more about you. I often say, like, we learn from experience. We learn from experience over time. But what is something that you would tell the younger version of Shia that you wish, that now that you wish someone would have told you years ago that might have shortened up your path, that might have inspired you. If you can go back and look to the younger version of Shia Crooms, well, you weren't Shia Crooms then, to look at the younger version of Shia, what is something that you wish someone would have told you that maybe you will tell a young adult today?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I've been told a lot throughout my life. You know what I mean? I have amazing parents too. But I would say, I think early on, that's a great question. I love when people ask this question because I have to really dig deep, dig deep. But I would say, I'll be honest with you, Ty, I would tell my younger self everything that I'm doing right now to keep going. Even though you're going to get a lot of no's on the journey, I always say like no means next opportunity. Because I think sometimes, and I was an athlete, so my basketball coach, my softball coach, my parents sold into us very early on. So I've been on this track to say, whatever I want to do, I'm going to do it. So there's not anything I would really tell my younger self. I would just continue to tell young Shishi to keep going because the road will be hard. But if somebody tells you no, go around that and create your own opportunities. And you can see I've kind of done that. Whenever somebody told me no, I created Briclyn. Whenever somebody told us no, we created Project Hygiene. When, Crush Your Craft was built out of people saying no to me and Tiffany, my business partner, on other things that we wanted to accomplish or putting so much of your time. One thing I would say to my younger self, really truly focus on yourself. Because I will say that is one thing I would tell myself. Focus on your dreams first, right? You're going to help a lot of people along the journey because that's what I simply have. But I realized it wasn't until later on, I remember early on in my career, I was so gung-ho on helping everybody. Now, I tell you, service is still a part of what I do. But in order for me to be able to help people be great, I got to help myself be greater too, right? So I would just say, keep going, help yourself while you're helping others. And I still, to this day, got to remind myself, but I'm telling you, like I've had a really good childhood. The adult years, you have them funky 20s where you're figuring life out, but God is good and there's not, my husband is calling me, so I'm sorry that you hear the ring. But just I would say younger Shishi, just keep going. When somebody tells you no, it's next opportunity to do something else.
Okay, perfect. And I think it's I think it's good because oftentimes as adults, I think sometimes we forget that the younger version of ourselves still exists. But sometimes you get bombarded with life, so you have all types of things weighing you down on your shoulders, pressuring you, that you forget about life just in general. You forget about the aspirations, the creative juices that we had. So, it's always nice, especially in hindsight, to look back and to say, you know what, I wish I had this, or, I wish I had gone left instead of right, but to be able to look back at it.
I'll tell you, the left and the right, that's a real thing. But, I always say, like, this is my journey for a reason. My journey was supposed to be this way. And so it's going to be up to me as I grow to figure out what that next path is going to be. And I tell you, like you said, like young Shishi still lives inside of me. The way that I execute in business, I'm simply doing it for that young girl, for that 13-year-old who wanted to be an agent, for that 10-year-old and that 11-year-old who wanted to be a film director and didn't have too many Black women to look up to. And now we're everywhere in this industry. So, young Shishi talks to me every single day. It's like that Issa Rae thing where you're looking in the mirror at your younger self, talking to yourself. I do the same thing. And I be like, girl, did you see that today? Did you see what we doing? And in my industry, I'm up against sometimes a lot of men who don't look like me in these music venues. So it's like, I got to put on tough skin. But, young Shishi, make sure you have tough skin because it will be hard for you. So, yep.
Okay. Yeah. And also, I consider you to be very successful. And that's for a variety of different reasons. But one of the things that I always ask of my interviewees is for you to define success, because each and every one of us have our own definition. So Shia, if you were to define success, how would you define success for you?
I would say for me, success is waking up every single day doing the things that I love, which is helping others and cultivating great talent along the way. But service for me, like I always say, like Project Hygiene is my life's work, my life's mission. To me, being successful is knowing that I helped somebody along the way, because I feel like God put us here. And for anyone, I'm sorry if I'm a very spiritual person
Oh
too.
no! Oh,
Um,
welcome.
but success to me is helping others, because if I can help somebody else, then I'm going to be 10 times blessed over. And that's success to me. You don't have to be on the highest pedestal. You ain't got to be in the ebony magazines. All that stuff is nice. But every single day that I can wake up and help these kids, help the artists that I work with, get them and help them figure out their passions, that's successful to me. That's how I define my success, is in helping others. The service that we do is what we would put here for all mankind. Simply, as simple as that.
I love it. Speaking of aspirations and success, you do tell, what is that plaque right there to the left of you?
Oh, I would like to say there's an artist, but it's me and my husband. It's called presented to Anshia and Crooms for Best Album of the Year, Shavar 2K16, our wedding. So it says, on this day, May 14, 2016, keep falling in love and breaking records. And my best friend Robin gave that to us. So that's my music of art plaque.
Listen, and I for those that don't know, her husband and I are close friends. That's actually how I got to know this dynamic young lady as well. And the two of you guys are a powerhouse and a power couple. But yeah, I just wanted to chime in on that. I'm not going to say whether or not I knew what was on the plaque or not. So I'm just going to.
Yeah, he's pretty dope. He's pretty dope.
But for not only for a woman, but just for a person who is doing so much in their life. My next question is actually going to be geared towards, how do you maintain, or how do you find a healthy work-life balance? Because it seems like you have so many different initiatives going on. And I can only imagine, how that brain might be constantly working. But for you, how do you find a healthy work-life balance, if that exists?
Honestly, now I say honestly, since COVID, like I made it my mission, and I had a surgery, a myomectomy, for those who don't know. I made it my business to say I had some tumors they're benign tumors, but I know that comes from stress, that comes from working hard, maybe the things you eat. And I told myself after that surgery, and I had to take about 6 weeks to truly heal. That was my time to really sit and be still and say, up until this point, all you've done is just work. You get up early in the morning, the first thing you run to is the computer. So I said I had to really start infusing prayer in the morning, putting on my diffuser with my lemon water, and going to the gym. Even now, like I still work out at least 30 minutes a day. Monday through Friday. If I'm not working out, I'm stretching. But I give myself, where in my younger entrepreneur days, that's all I was like, oh, entrepreneur. But I'm like, no, you get burnt out real quick. So for me, I make sure, like when I'm waiting, I'm an early riser. So I get up about 4 or 5, but I use that time to really get myself centered, and that helps me focus. And so I just realized, like, work can come later, but I need this time to get my mind together. So the balance comes in by giving myself permission to be still and to just say, do something for yourself. And now my husband, I think I told you this before, he likes to sleep later, right? But we make it our business too to put each other first, and that in marriage, sometimes you go through the highs and the lows, but you honestly got to put each other first, and then understand each other's passion, understand each other's purpose, and support one another. And so we do that for each other. But I make sure my house comes first, home life comes first. I cook, I clean, I do all of that stuff too. I'm a wife first, I'm an entrepreneur second. So
Right.
So and I had to learn that thing. That thing didn't just come. It came over time. So it's like, long as my home life is good, everything else is going to be good. But for Anshia, for Shishi, I make sure in the morning time it's for me. It's for me. And so not taking the calls at 5 or 6 o'clock, because some clients will try you, want to call you at 6 o'clock in the morning, and some still do. But I say, you know what, I'll get back to you around 10,
Mm,
depending
nice.
on what it is. But I gotta take the time in the morning to find the purpose, that balance. And then weekends, I try to be home more, not travel as much. COVID really slowed us down. And for me, honestly, that could have been the best thing for me because I was gone all the time. But I just like being home. I am a homebody. I like to sleep. So I guess because I, might fall asleep around 7:38 sometimes. I get up so early in the morning.
Mm,
But that's my time. I like to rest so I can have the energy to be able to create all these things because my brain doesn't never turn off. So that's why I get up to make sure I'm writing out my own goals and making sure I'm seeing it through. But I got to make sure my home life is good, and then that helps me find my balance too. Yep.
okay. And I think it's important because some people are always saying, I don't have the time, right? I don't have the time. And I think what I've learned through experience and then watching others is that we make the time for what's important. We
Yep.
make the time for what we want. We make the time for what it is that we want to accomplish. And part of making the time is also setting aside time just for you and hopefully for you and God. So that's why when you started going there, I was like, oh, don't worry, this is a welcome space there. Anyone that knows me know that God is a significant part of my life. And I think it helps me to stay grounded just as a person because, if I got into my own feelings, my own thoughts too much, I wouldn't be focused in on what it is that God is desiring or God is saying.
Yeah.
And I think that his moves and his directions far exceed my own. So, learning how to just be usable. And that's the same thing I tell everybody, things may not be going the best right now. Things may not be exactly where you are, but continue to be coachable and put yourself in a usable position so that when is your time, God can use you in your season. Because we all got a season.
Absolutely, we do. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. And just on another note, because I know you said that you have dynamic parents, so shout out to the parentals. But you also mentioned something where you were just saying that you were still learning in your role as a woman and as a wife. And then most times, I often say in conversations when it does come up, we'll say like, well, especially for me as a young man, it was just like, I didn't have a father figure in the household. So me identifying how to be the man that I thought I could be or envision what this man looked like, I had to pull pieces from over here and pieces from over here and to figure it out. But even for you, when you said that you had parentals, I like to use that word, that you can learn from in your own marriage, in your own walk, there was still learning that needed to be done.
Absolutely. Because at the end of the day, like you can have those role models, you can have those parentals, but that's their marriage, So what might work for their marriage might not work for yours. But I had the blueprint, I like to say, and I see, and my mom can carry her own. She's a bad woman, you know what I mean? If my dad was to leave tomorrow, she'd be good, but but they're a team too, and they've been together almost 40 years. So it's like, I've watched them from when they were really young because they had us younger to where they are right now. But I've seen them grow. I've seen the journey. I've seen the peaks, the valleys, everything within that marriage, but I can respect what they have in the union of what they built and, teaching us. So it is a foundational piece. But as you get into this thing, you never know how your marriage is going to be. So you have to maneuver it. But I can say that I had a blueprint and a foundation or I had a book to read from, to pull from a little bit, to say, oh, maybe I could do it a little bit like this. And then I figure it out as I go and I write my own chapters, So yeah.
Nice. And for those of us who don't have that in-house, there are literally books before that. Look at these books behind me. I think it's probably one going to be Boundaries. One's going to be a book called How We Love. One's going to be the 5 Love Languages.
I was about to say, yes.
I am a student always. So I'm a student at life. I'm a student at love. I'm a student at fatherhood. I'm a student. And it's a never ending process. So, but when I heard you say that, I thought that it was dynamic because, you know, like you said, you had both mom and dad to set the blueprint. And even in those blueprints that we have, it's still important to continue to search, to continue to grow along that journey and carve out your own lane, because you can't live somebody else's experience.
Yep, exactly.
All right, listen, I got about 2 more questions for you, and then I'm going to go. One of them is, what about your life's path are you most proud about, Shia?
Creating something from nothing. Honestly, because my path is long, you know, these 15 years, and we actually founded Briclyn around March 2007. And it's a lot. When I didn't have, you know, moving to New York City, trying to figure it out at age 21 years old. No one really giving me, you know, a book to say how to do this. Mentors are amazing, but I didn't really have a mentor, you know, so I've honestly had to figure this journey out. I've had some great people along the way that have come in my life, but my greatest blessing to me is figuring something out of nothing. I didn't know that Briclyn was going to become a booking agency. I started out as a young manager who I didn't know anything about managing. I just thought I could do it. So I did it. And then it turned into this booking agency. It turned in creating my own festivals. It turned into creating my own workshops, sending artists across the world. I never even realized that I would be someone good enough to like send people overseas. Hey man, how you doing?
There was no way I was going to be able to avoid it. All right.
That's my little Gemini brother. I'm not mad at him.
Close the door, buddy. Yeah. I wasn't going to avoid it. I tried to tell him to go. So come on in here. He tries to do it. I have.
I ain't mad at that. It's all good. But creating something out of nothing. And when I can look back now, 15 years later, I'm proud of the work we've done at Briclyn. And honestly, like the thing about Briclyn is so special to me because it's part of my dad's name. My dad's middle name is Bryce, and I carry that name with me wherever I go. And so everything I do in Briclyn is really intentional because it's personal. You know, I want to always be able to take care of my parents in the near future. I would love to. So anything that I do has to be centered on my family, centered on my purpose and my passion. So I'm most proud of creating something out of nothing without any help. And once, like I said earlier, anytime someone told me no, I just went around and created something else different, and it's worked for me. So you might not see me in Billboard Women in Music yet. You will though, you know, but I don't even need all that. All those things are great. But I know when I'm servicing Kevin Ross, Maimouna Youssef, Eric Robeson, all the amazing talent that I've already worked for, it's because they have enough respect for us to say, I want you to rap me. And I built that out of nothing, just out of people believing in what we say and what we do. And so for me, I'm most proud of that.
Okay. Well, that is enough to be proud of. That is definitely something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do. One, investing in yourself, believing in yourself through the hardships, through the lack of support, through the no's. So, you know, it takes one, no one. So, you know, that's why I said you are truly inspirational in what you do. And the fact that you continue to push, and even while you're pushing, you know, you make it look easy, you make it look good. So you know,
push means what? Pray until something happens. I mean, come on, we're gonna keep pushing and we're gonna keep praying because something is already happening. Sometimes we just don't know it, but it happens and it opens doors, and we just got to be ready for it. So you keep pushing and praying.
Okay. Final question for you, and then I'm gonna let you go. Okay. Entrepreneurship is something that is very important. It takes a lot of work, a lot of risk. But do you think that teaching students, or do you think that teaching entrepreneurship in high school should be part of the curriculum? Why or why not?
I definitely do, because we live in a different type of society from when you and I were coming up. You know what I mean? I encourage going to college for sure. but we also know that some kids are not going to make it to college. Some are going to drop out. But I think if you teach them, it's like when you used to teach kids a trade when with all those vocational schools. I think teaching them how to be entrepreneurs early on, so when they decide they want to go to college or not, they know there's this avenue over here, there's this avenue over there, but also just teaching them how to run a business, how to manage money. I do think those things should be taught in school, because a lot of us did not find out about that until later. Nobody taught me how to be an entrepreneur. I just knew that I wanted to be one. I knew what I seen on TV from watching the Suzanne DePasses, from watching the Diddy's, the Quincy Jones, and all those amazing people. I was like, oh, I want to be that. I want to do that, but I don't want to go work for somebody. But that was something inside of me. So I think it should be an option, an extracurricular class that maybe they do offer, because entrepreneurship is so popular and so many young people right now are creating businesses. But imagine when they're in high school and even sometimes middle school, if they understand the structure of how to run a business so early on, maybe they won't go into debt so early on and then have to pay everything later, and figure out not to maybe take that loan, or figure out how to set up an LLC correctly, because honestly, it's all on the website. They see it. So because they're already seeing it on social media, some things we truly can't hide. They see the rise of Black businesses. So that's why I think it's important right now to teach entrepreneurship to just kids in general. It doesn't matter what color you are, but specifically African-American children, because, you know, we weren't given a head start all the time. So the thing is, I say, yeah, do it. Why not? If somebody taught me that in high school, and I did have like clubs like Future Business Leaders of America, Future Leaders of America, which I was state president over when I was in high school. So I was learning how to be a leader back then and didn't even know that I was going to be running a company. But imagine if the blueprint or a class or a club was provided very early on in high school, imagine how much further some of us would be. So I encourage it. Yes, I encourage it.
And I think it's part of the wave. Like, there's a lot of things that are in now that we're allowed to talk about that most of us, definitely during our generation, we didn't grow up talking about. So you didn't talk about finances, you didn't talk about therapy, you didn't talk about all of these different things, but even realizing that a lot of our parents had been entrepreneurs themselves and running businesses. And let's say if your parent happened to pass away and leave their children something, but they never learned how to run the business. They never knew the importance of it. But that business is what sustained their family for that long. So as an entrepreneur, I wanted to ask you that question, because I believe that there's a lot of power in teaching that, whether or not you go that route or not, but knowing that it is available as an option.
Yeah, because, you know, whenever we decide to have children, you know, I'm creating the Project Hygienes and the Briclyn to be able, that's my legacy, to leave part of my dad's name and my name to my children. That's why we do this work. You know, that's why we create the endowments. That's why we do everything that we're doing right now for legacy building and for wealth. So that is what I was put here for, to create a platform for my family to be okay. And if that means working hard and getting down in the mud and creating something out of nothing, then I'm gonna continue to keep doing that. So, you know, it is really about, like Jay-Z, that legacy building, you know, leave it for the family. Shout out to Jay, because I live by his blueprint too. He hustler, you know.
My man right there behind me.
I didn't even recognize. I love Jay. So yeah, okay. You know, let's could create the legacy for the family. That's where I'm at. But also teach us correctly how to run legacy.
Yep. That's the other part of it, because, you know, some of it is comprehension. So, you know, so teaching how to do it is very important. But nevertheless, I really want to thank you for affording me your time today. Thank you for coming on the Back community. I really believe that your story is inspirational and has the impact power to touch other individuals, because you've touched myself. So I can't wait to get your story out to the people so it can be heard. So thank you.
No, thank you, Ty. And shout out to the Back community for having me. I appreciate you all.
Anytime. I wish you continued success moving forward, and I'll play catch up with you later.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Later. Are we?
Keep climbing up the ladder. A Black Lives Matter. It matter. To all you young people, give it all. 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 Matter, matter. A Black Lives Matter. They matter, they matter. A Black Lives Matter.